Hi, my name is Natalie, and today I'm going to be talking about the epic foreshadowing of the first Iron Man movie to Endgame. I think this goes without saying, but this video will contain extreme spoilers for Endgame of the Avengers Infinity Saga. There will also be a lot of spoilers from the other movies, as I'm probably going to be talking about different events that happen within the entire Infinity Saga. So if you would not like to have spoilers for Endgame or for any of the Infinity Saga movies, including all the Iron Man movies, please go watch them before you watch this video. You have been forewarned. Anyway, now that the spoiler warning is out of the way, I can officially talk about what this video is actually about. I am going to be talking about how in the first Iron Man movie, there was a line that foreshadowed Iron Man's death in Endgame. Now, if you've just missed that spoiler warning and you heard death, that's right. Iron Man does die in Endgame, and it's kind of a big shock. Or is it? Iron Man's death was technically foreshadowed in the very first Iron Man movie, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. In the very first Iron Man movie, Iron Man is talking to a man named Yinsen, who is helping him to build some sort of reactor core that is going to go into Tony Stark's heart to keep shrapnel away from his heart. And he had originally made a device somehow similar to this, but Tony Stark makes a better version of it. And Yinsen says, "Man, that thing could power your heart for 50 lifetimes." And Iron Man just replies, "Or something very powerful for 15 minutes. And snap. Quite literally. The snap, as it's called in Endgame, is what ends up killing Tony Stark. Now, the reason for this is Tony Stark is a mortal man, and just because he's wearing an Iron Man suit, that does not change that fact. There have been many people who have tried to attempt the snap, including Thanos, who did not die because he is a superhuman being and is purple, and also Hulk, who was in his Hulk form and therefore was also a superpowered human being. Tony Stark is not a superpowered human being, however much we want to think or believe that fact. He is just a regular human with a power reactor core in his heart to keep shrapnel away from his heart. And I think it's very interesting that Yinsen said, this could power your heart for 50 lifetimes. And Tony said in response, "or something very powerful for 15 minutes. And what happens in Endgame? He takes on something very powerful for 15 minutes. Think about it. His death, though in the movie does not last 15 minutes, it took a few minutes for him to get the gauntlet on, to do the snap, and then to also kind of have a few more minutes afterward to breathe and think. I mean, it took a little bit longer than, say, 5 minutes for him to die. And I just think it's just very interesting that in Iron Man, he specifically says this direct quote, and that in Endgame, this direct thing happens. I mean, we all have that lovely joke of that proof that Tony Stark has a heart with the little reactor core and everything like that, and how they set it to sail. And I know that he had part of it removed at some point during Iron Man 3, but it's just very interesting that that exact quote happened, and then that exact thing happened in the very last movie. So this is really amazing, because Iron Man was the very first movie to be made in the Infinity Saga, and Endgame was the last movie to be made in the Infinity Saga. Now, of course, they're making movies now still that include characters from the Infinity Saga, such as the new Spider-Man movie that was released after Endgame, and the new Doctor Strange movie that's going to be made in the next year. But none of that really compares to this one thing that happens from the first movie to the last movie with one of the main characters of the entire MCU. Now, in the comic books, Iron Man is not one of the biggest characters, but in the movies, he takes on a much bigger role and a much bigger light. And he is one of the main driving factors for a lot of the movies. Take Civil War into account, where it's basically him versus Captain America, which, as you can probably notice, I'm wearing my Captain America shirt because I love Captain America. Please leave your favorite superhero below. Anyway, I just really wanted to make this video because I saw somewhere about this exact theory and this kind of idea that this was foreshadowed in the very first Iron Man movie and that it actually came to be. I think Yinsing would be completely blown away by what Iron Man had said and what actually happened. And I'm hoping that at least some of you have taken into some thought and are like, wow, this is kind of a cool thing to know. So I hope you enjoyed this short video, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Please let me know below if there's anything else you want me to talk about, or if there's anything that you'd like to share, specifically that superhero thing I told you about. Anyway, have a nice day, everyone, and goodbye!